tackle all the others, about the investments, and about the awareness of people and citizens about the purpose.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
we'll come back to you later. Are there any points of information? Yes, there's a point of information from Reggie. Reggie, you're recognized.
Could the committee clarify what is meant by European Social Stock Exchange? Thank you.
Okay.
Sorry, you need to be recognized before you can speak. Ample 2.
So social stock exchange.
Yeah. Then I'm sorry. If you want to be recognized, you need to hold your placards clearly in the air. Ample 2, you're recognized now.
Thank you. Social stock exchange, actually, it already exists in the UK, and the statistics shows that it's quite successful. So basically, there is a trading platform listing only social businesses. Using social stock exchanges, investors can buy shares in a social business. An investor would come to a social stock exchange to find a social business with a mission according to his or her preferences. And basically, it provides access to the world's first a regulated exchange dedicated to businesses and investors seeking to achieve a positive social and environmental impact through their activities. So in our resolution, we promote actually for those social exchange to help grow all the social enterprises internationally. And as we have...
yeah, thank you very much. I think that's clear, Reggie. I hope that addresses your point. And once again, on a general note, please try to speak a bit more slowly, so that the translators can also interpret what you're saying. Thank you. And now, before we move on to the first round of open debate, I just want to draw the chair's attention to something. Could all the chairs look at the screen for a second? Yeah? Yeah? Thank you very much. Having said as much, I'd like to see all placards in the air for the first round of open debates. And all right, we'll have the first point from Liebe 1, followed by Sede in German.
In operative clause number 9, you recommend member states to provide fundings to social enterprises. So do you believe every country has the means to start such fundings? Wouldn't it be easier if the EU took care of it? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Liebe 1. And as promised, Sede, your point in German? Yeah, you're recognized.
Ich wollte mich auf Punkt 4 beziehen, und zwar, dass die Europäische Kommission eine Sozialbörse etablieren soll. Dies sehe ich zum einen nicht als nötig, da es so etwas schon gibt von privaten Börsenanbietern. Zum anderen finde ich es hochriskant, wenn die Europäische Kommission sich in den Aktienhandel mit einmischt. Und deswegen würde ich von diesem Punkt sehr stark Abstand nehmen. Und ich wollte von dem Ausschuss wissen, wie Sie denn verhindern wollen, dass da Interessenkonflikte bestehen. Vielen Dank.
Thank you very much. And we'll have the next point from Cult 1. You're recognized.
Regarding the fifth OC, we see that the OC5 tries to tackle the overcomplicated bureaucratic procedures. However, when you look at the fourth operative clause that seeks to establish a kind of committee specifically for the purpose of supervising social businesses, thus even increasing the bureaucracy behind it. Therefore, we believe that these both policies are both mutually exclusive.
Thank you very much. And there's a direct response from Reggie, you recognized.
Adding on to the bureaucracy point, even on OC9, you recommend member states to create national funds for social enterprises, and then these social enterprises will offer this financial aid. So you just put one more institution into the game. By doing this, you're basically increasing bureaucracy. And going on the contrary with point number 3 or 5 that actually were the same, but since 3 was amended. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. So now we're going to go back to the proposing committee. We've heard comments about whether it's the EU level is the most adequate level to deal with this issue, and also some concerns regarding the stock market idea, and also some concerns regarding bureaucracy. Empel 2, would you like to address these points? You're recognized.
Hi. With regards to Operative Clause 9, the European Social Fund, member states can apply to European Social Fund, so they won't have to provide these funds themselves. About Operative Clause 5, yeah, so the stock exchange won't create any more bureaucratic procedures. It's just a platform, like it's not a big list of paperwork or anything to go through. It's supposed to help exchange information, not complicate anything. National funds isn't creating an institution. It's so that people can put money into a kind of pool for when social businesses aren't doing so well, and then they can get help in case they're not doing great. Okay, so that's it.
All right, thank you very much for those clarifications. We'll get back to you again later. And for the second round of open debate, we'll take the first point en français par la Commission des Affaires étrangères. AFET, you're recognized.
Merci. En ce qui concerne le point numéro 10, nous sommes un peu curieux de ce que signifie le programme de labeling et certification du système. Et aussi, félicitations sur le numéro 6. Merci.
Merci beaucoup. Et alors, we're going to have the next point from... We'll have the next point from Reggie. You're recognized.
So regarding clause 4, I disagree with establishing this new body for the 3 aims expressed in the subclauses, because, for example, subclause B, measuring the impact of social businesses. In 2014, for example, the European Commission already set up a standard and a mechanism to achieve this aim exactly. So I feel like it kind of defeats the purpose of also reducing bureaucratic procedures, and it also slows down the progress.
Thank you very much. And seems like we have a direct response from Empel that would like to comment on this specific point. You're recognized.
Thank you. The issue with the 2014 report is that there is no data on social enterprises enough. So we implemented a clause which specifically increases the information on this and could make a more accurate report than the 2014 one. Thank you.
Thank you very much. On a technical note, I just wanted to say that we have some technical issues with GA stats, which means that chairperson should not worry about using them right now, but we will try to use them for the voting procedure. And then we'll have the next point from ITRE 2, you're recognized.
Thank you for the word. Let me first generally say that I think that it's an overall a good resolution, and I like the majority of it. However, one point that I think you failed to mention was the general opinion of youth regarding the topic of entrepreneurship and how many of them decide to take that path in life. One of the suggestions that I wanted to make was the implementation of the project named Social Day. I don't know whether it's familiar with you. Amongst all high schools on the level of all EU member states. I wanted to see whether you took that into consideration. Thank you.
Thank you very much for an excellent point where you point out something that you think that is not addressed in the resolution, and then you actually propose a solution to the proposing committee to take into consideration. Thank you very much. We really appreciate that. And now we're going to go back to the proposing committee. You're recognized. Empl 2.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you for your points. First of all, regarding OC number 10, the aim of the labeling and certifications is to increase the visibility and the recognition of social enterprises, since there is still a lack of awareness among citizens, and they would just identify which social enterprises are doing well, what are they doing, and what is their purpose. And then, the second point was already addressed by the direct response. And regarding the young people, we didn't. We have actually some university courses, the specialist development support, and then we're trying in general to raise visibility of them thanks to conventions and talks that are mentioned in clause number 11. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll start the third round of open debate with a point from Employment and Social Affairs 1. You're recognized.
Thank you. In Operative Clause 9, you state that you would like to give financial aid to social businesses. But I'm thinking, won't this defeat the point of social business? Aren't they supposed to be self-sustainable and not take something from the society, but give something as it's stated in your fact sheet? Thank you.
Thank you for that. There's a direct response on the self-sufficiency of social enterprises from Call 2. You're recognized.
Yeah, I do agree with that. Also, I think that taking money from the government won't even help social enterprises, because they might end in a circle with corrupt people using the money on fake societies and on their own. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll have the next point from the Committee on Development. Deva, you're recognized. Unfortunately not. Sorry, we still can't hear you. There's a bit of microphone exchange going on there, and it should work now.
Thank you very much. So you mentioned in your introductory clauses K and L that the private and public sector are unaware and therefore unwilling to use and invest in social enterprises. Therefore, I would urge the committee to amend the resolution and add a clause where you outline a match-up program that puts social enterprises in touch with relevant sectors in order to teach the aforementioned sectors about the social enterprises and the way that they can help their sectors improve. That way, they would be more willing to invest. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for a constructive proposal and moving the debate forward. And we'll have the next point from Libe 2 before going back to the proposing committee. Libe 2, you're recognized.
Thank you very much. According introduction clause J, where it says that those enterprises lack the desired management in order to work the way they should be, you have no solution for this. But we have thought of a solution that could be hiring personnel from the private management and giving them the opportunity to work in a desired management for them and with satisfactory wages. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And now we're going back to the proposing committee, and the proposing committee will address the points in German. You're recognized.
Ja, vielen Dank erstmal für diese Punkte in der interessanten Debattenrunde. Ich möchte mich zunächst für die ersten zwei Komitees bedanken, dass sie noch einmal auf diese National Funds eingegangen sind. Dabei ist es aber noch mal hervorzuheben, dass es gar nicht darum geht, dass schlussendlich die Regierung die Social Enterprises finanziell unterstützt, sondern es geht vielmehr darum, dass eben die Social Enterprises das, was sie sozusagen als Profit einnehmen würden, in diesen Fund einzahlen, sodass sie dann neue Social Enterprises bei ihrem Startup unterstützen können, wenn diese eben finanzielle Unterstützung benötigen. Heißt, es geht hier gar nicht darum, dass die Social Enterprises Geld bekommen, sondern vielmehr selbst Geld abgeben, damit sie eben neue soziale Projekte unterstützen. Dann zu DEWE. Wir würden hier sagen, dass vor allem Social Stock Exchange diese Problematik anspricht, da dort eben direkt Investors mit Social Enterprises verbunden werden, je nachdem, welche Kriterien sie erfüllen. Und so wollen wir eben gerade die Verbindung bzw. das Finden finanzieller Unterstützung erleichtern. Und zu Liebe 2, ja, diese IC ist überhaupt kein Problem, sondern wir würden das begrüßen, denn hierbei dreht es sich darum, dass Social Enterprises eben gewisse öffentliche Verpflichtungen selbst erfüllen, beziehungsweise die der Regierung abnehmen. Und dafür begrüßen wir das. Ja, das war das Prinzip der SIs. Ja.
Thank you very much. Thank you for continuously exploring the linguistic opportunities that we have during this session and this General Assembly. We'll open the fourth round of open debate with a point from INTA. INTA, you're recognized. Thank you for that intervention. We'll have the next point in French from... Sorry, there's a point of personal privilege for Empl 2. What was the issue? Would you like to briefly... the last point to be briefly restated, yes? So, Inta, could you please briefly restate your point?
Yeah.
Thank you.
So the reason social enterprises are successful is because they're innovative and creative, and giving them business models from some big expert group is against the idea of innovation and social enterprises. Thank you.
Yeah, I hope that was clear. And now, as promised, we'll have the next point from AFCO, and it will be expressed in French.
Merci. J'aimerais parler de la quatrième clause. Je ne comprends pas encore pourquoi vous voulez établir un marché boursier social européen, spécialement pour les entreprises sociales, parce que vous pouvez juste les souligner dans le marché de bourse normal. Et il serait aussi possible de mesurer l'impact des entreprises sociales dans l'UE et sans créer une nouvelle bourse. Et les investisseurs peuvent aussi trouver les entreprises là-bas. Merci.
Thank you very much, AFCO. I would like your point was about the operative clause 4, which has already been mentioned several times, and it seems like the proposing committee also was already addressing it. So let's try to make sure that we cover as more ideas from the resolution, not just that. Nevertheless, thank you very much. And then we'll have the next point from ITRE 1. You're recognized.
Thank you. If I remember correctly, am I recognized? Am I recognized? If I remember correctly, Ample 2's defense speech contained mention of starting courses in the field, and the 11th OC calls for conventions and talks. However, there are much easier ways to do this than to ask the European Commission to do it. For example, European leading educational institutions may, for example, wish to cooperate with platforms such as the EDX and put actual free online college courses there, and entrepreneurs will get a college certificate in entrepreneurship much more easily without paying much and without leaving their home even. Thus, comprehensive online courses funded by the EU would be the most effective, cheap and most fair solution to this issue. Thanks.
Thank you, ITRE 1. And there's a direct response from Cult 1. Cult 1, you are recognized.
Yeah, just to add on that point, I agree that online services would be better. A lot of your clauses are very repetitive, and I think if you had an online platform to undertake all of your initiatives, it would be a lot more resourceful and accessible through the EU. Thank you.
Right, thank you very much. And unfortunately, we're short on time and behind the schedule, so we're going to move on to the summation speech by Empel 2. Empel 2? Yeah, you're recognized.
Thank you for all of your questions. Dear Mr. President, honorable members of the board, and dear fellow delegates. First of all, we would like to address the business model. This would be an adaptable template, which would basically help people who have innovative ideas but don't know how to start a business. Also, stock market, this is basically just courses and stuff like that, and we feel like this is also mentioned in our resolution where we mention development support. We think that kind of includes that as well.
Over the last 150 years, there has been a never-ending debate between those who espouse the free market on one hand and socialism on the other. It is clear now that the free market has won out, and it has won because at its core it gives full flower to individual ambition and entrepreneurship, and because of this, it delivers best. To draw a conclusion, few would deny the importance of the state in providing social inputs that enable the modern economy to grow. 20 or 30 years ago, business was purely about profit because of the harsher environment where our ancestors had to make constant sacrifices to provide us with a good future. It is of utmost now. It is the time to be and encourage social entrepreneurs. It is of utmost importance that they continue their fight, as it is not an easy task to tackle, especially if you consider the variety of fields social enterprises operate in. For them, building a business that is profitable and competitive while also being caring and just, proves to be very difficult. But that constantly pushes them to be innovative, efficient, prudent, but also very bold. Social entrepreneurs and their initiative always have faith that their mission and their goals to aid the suffering are worth the heartaches. They have more reasons not to fail for the sake of their community and the cause they stand by. Social entrepreneurs don't quit, not even when countless of hurdles appear in their way. With all of that said, will you choose to evade your personal responsibility or work towards the greater good and stand united? We'll leave it up to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much for addressing the last point of open debate, and thank you very much for that summation speech, Alexandra. We're now moving on to the voting, so please do consider the resolution and the debate that we had. Make up your mind and collect the votes. So let's try to submit the votes throughout the GA Stats platform. Right, please do submit your votes. Yeah, so could we please have someone from the technical support team displaying the stats screen that we have? Yes. So we're still missing the results from 5 committees. 4, 3, 2, 2, 2. Poker face. So we're still missing 2 committees. Could you please submit the results ASAP? Libe 2, have you submitted your votes? All right. Can you then announce your votes, Ample 1? All right, Ample 1, it's 9-6.
9-6-1. 9 in favor, 6 against, 1 abstention.
And Libe 2?
9-2-1.
9-2-1. All right, so the final result is that I do congratulate Empel 2 on this result. Well done. Congratulations. And now we're moving on to the next debate.
Cool. Okay, guys, shh. Can I get everyone to stand up? Quick. Okay, can everyone sit back down again? Sit back down. Sit back down, please. Can we be quick? We're going to keep doing this until we can get people to quickly sit down. Here we go. Sit down. Okay, let's try that again. Can everyone stand up? And sit down. And stand up. And turn around. And turn around the full way. Yeah. Okay. Everyone sit down. Okay, so I just want you to turn over to the person on your right and give them a bit of a shake. And on the left, do the same. Okay. We have one more resolution to go before we go for lunch. So the more energy and the quicker we can get through this, the quicker we can all eat.
Oh, you did it without me.
I didn't know you were coming back.
Oh, it's okay.
Cormac McKinney.
Did you already start? No, just about to. You want to get this one?
No, you do it. Cheers.
Stretch your legs. It's like a silent disco. What's that? So, the last debate before we go to lunch. This will be the motion for a resolution by the Committee on Security and Defense. So, in light of the EU-Turkey Joint Action Plan, how can the EU and Turkey cooperate to improve public safety in Turkey while safeguarding human rights, democracy, and the rule of law? Sede, I think it's high time you come here and read your operative clauses.
Dear Mr. President, honorable members of the board, fellow delegates, the European Youth Parliament 1 calls for the decision regarding the legality of the action plan to be based upon the outcome of the decision of the ECJ. A. Should the action plan be proclaimed illegal,
The EU should immediately suspend the action plan and search for new cooperation possibilities with Turkey concerning refugees. B. Should the agreement be proclaimed legal, the action plan and the improvement of their cooperation will be continued. 2. Further calls for Turkey to adjust its asylum law in line with the EU by expanding it to include other nationalities. 3. Urges against the deportation of asylum seekers who are not entitled to asylum in Turkey until the aforementioned adjustment has been completed. 4. Has resolved to rapidly provide trained staff and infrastructure to member states to accelerate the processing of asylum applications. 5. Condemns the violation of human rights and the principle of non-refoulement in Turkey. 6. Encourages the Turkish government to consider the proposals made by the World Bank to achieve greater political stability in Turkey. 7. Encourages both parties to implement the already negotiated customs union agreement and improve the cooperation between the parties. 8. Invites the European Commission to continue open outcome visa negotiations with Turkey. 9. Recommends the suspension of negotiations surrounding the visa liberalization should Turkey continue to violate human rights or the principle of non-refoulement in the long term. 10. Supports the humanitarian implementation plan with financial and material resources. 11. Endorses further financial and material support for Turkey by calculating payments according to every newly registered refugee originating from unsafe home countries, with the requirement that the humanitarian situation in Turkey improves through A. Visible progress in the refugee accommodation conditions. B. Encourage integration and education. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Sede, defense speech? Yes, Sede, you recognize in German. Please, 3 minutes to from the podium.
Sehr geehrter Präsident der Sitzung, geehrtes Präsidium, liebe Mitdelegierte. Wir befinden uns in der größten humanitären Krise, die das moderne Europa seit einigen Jahrzehnten durchstehen muss: die Flüchtlingskrise. Die EU hat ihre Grenze erreicht. Doch nicht nur die EU, sondern auch der wichtigste Verhandlungspartner in diesem Problem, die Türkei, ist überfordert. Die Situation in der Türkei, das Land, das zurzeit mehr als 3 Millionen und somit die meisten Flüchtlinge aufnimmt, ist mehr als besorgniserregend. Seit März diesen Jahres gibt es ein Abkommen zwischen der EU und der Türkei, das Abhilfe schaffen soll, dessen Legalität und Umsetzung jedoch stark kritisiert und angezweifelt werden. Ein Problem, das wir nicht weiter ignorieren können. Unsere Resolution setzt sich mit viel Fingerspitzengefühl mit diesem vielschichtigen Problem auseinander. Wir versuchen, einen Kompromiss auf der Basis des bestehenden Abkommens zu finden, der für alle von Vorteil ist, vor allem für diejenigen, die in der derzeitigen Form des Abkommens am meisten übergangen werden: die Flüchtlinge. Auf der anderen Seite wollen wir, wie bereits gesagt, die derzeitige Kooperation mit der Türkei weiter verbessern, müssen aber andererseits auch beachten, dass eine Kooperation mit einer Regierung wie die der Türkei schwierig ist und das auch bleiben wird. Leider sind wir ständig gezwungen, unsere Kooperation mit der Türkei zu hinterfragen. Die Ereignisse der letzten Tage zeigen erneut, wie instabil die politische Lage der Türkei ist. Präsident Erdogan rief zuletzt den Ausnahmezustand aus. Ein neuer Tiefpunkt ist erreicht. Wir als Werteunion können und dürfen die fragwürdigen Tendenzen der Türkei nicht ignorieren, auch im Hinblick auf die EU-Eintrittsverhandlungen. Eines der Hauptziele unserer Resolution ist die Verbesserung der Lage der Flüchtlinge. Diese Verbesserung soll unter anderem durch eine Beschleunigung der Asylverfahren, durch eine Inklusion von nicht-syrischen Flüchtlingen in das Abkommen, eine generelle Verbesserung der Unterbringung sowie die Möglichkeit zur Inklusion und Bildung der Flüchtlinge in der Türkei passieren. Die von uns entwickelten Lösungsansätze helfen jedoch nicht nur den Flüchtlingen, sondern allen anderen Interessengruppen und findet einen bestmöglichen Kompromiss. Sowohl die Türkei als auch die EU werden entlastet, was nicht heißen will, dass die EU keine weiteren Flüchtlinge aufnehmen soll. In den letzten Monaten haben vor allen Dingen Nichtregierungsorganisationen ihre Bedenken gegenüber dem derzeitigen Abkommen geäußert. Diese Kritik bezieht sich vor allem auf die Lage in den Auffanglagern in der Türkei und Griechenland, aber auch darauf, ob ein Abkommen, das derartige Abschiebungen sowie eine Klassifizierung von Menschen vorsieht, überhaupt legal sein kann. Es ist wichtig zu beachten, dass durch die Lösung unserer Resolution diese Legalitätsfrage geklärt wird. Da wir eine gerechte Behandlung der Verfolgten fordern, die sich aufgrund ihrer derzeitigen Lage vor allem zu illegalen Grenzübergängen gezwungen sehen. Vor allem fordern wir aber auch Veränderungen von Seiten der Türkei, damit das Abkommen funktionieren kann. Was wir in diesen schweren Zeiten brauchen, ist eine schnelle, aber trotzdem überlegte Lösung und Einigkeit. Lasst uns dies gemeinsam erreichen. In diesem Sinne rufen wir, der Ausschuss für Sicherheit und Verteidigung, euch, liebe Delegierten, auf, im Sinne aller Parteien zu handeln und für unsere Resolution zu stimmen. Vielen Dank für eure Aufmerksamkeit.
Thank you very much, Sede, for this dispense speech, going over all of the points you presented in the resolution. Maybe just one mention about the fact that, I mean, given the continuously evolving situation in Turkey, maybe one thing that we should also give to the committee is the fact that they managed to tackle such a challenging question. And at the same time, maybe I'd suggest everyone to refrain from comments which would go in the direction of, but you didn't consider that something that happened 2 seconds ago, just because obviously it is very hard to take those things into consideration. So maybe definitely let's bring the recent events. We should bring the recent events in this debate, but let's not, in a way, blame the committee for not having taken into consideration certain stuff. And that being said, let's move on to the, if there's any attack speech who would like to be delivered by any committee.
No.
Okay, we reached a conclusion, we reached a consensus. So the first attack speech will come from INTA in English, and the second one from AFCO en français. Both from up there. 2 minutes each, please. You have a wonderful elevated podium.
Thanks. First of all, I want to say that I agree with Mr. President, so I will not consider the coup situation and the recent situations. So, Mr. President, honorable members of the board, distinguished guests, I would like to thank SEDE for their efforts, first of all, but I am sorry to say that this resolution is absolutely abusive from the perspective of Turkey. The main philosophy is giving as much responsibility as EU can to Turkey, in exchange giving as less as possible needs of Turkey to Turkey, especially about the visa liberalization, and I will talk about it later too. And giving only some money and lying back to see what will happen. For example, okay, further calling for Turkey to adjust its asylum law in line with the EU by expanding it to include other nationalities. So the joint action plan is actually normally Syria specific, and I found this expansion of nationalities irrelevant because the main problem is Syria now. And like I guess SEDE is planning to give the responsibility of other refugees to Turkey, for example, in a situation of another civil war popping up, and like they giving all of the responsibility to Turkey in other possible situations. That's smart, but it's abusive from the point of Turkey, from the point of view of Turkey. And then we have got the open outcome visa negotiations. Like, you know that Turkey is trying to be a member of the European Union for a while, like ages and ages, and these were just happening with the open outcome visa open outcome negotiations. But what is the conclusion? 9. We are not a member of the European Union. So I don't think that it will be reliable, and the Turkey will think that they will reach a conclusion with the open visa negotiations. Also,
Can you please conclude?
Okay.
Thank you.
Also, I want to note that the thing Turkey wants.
No, the also, no, if you can just say so and then conclude.
Okay, I'm concluding. There is simply no clause which shows that Europe is ready to take some responsibility. The only mentality is to give money and see what happens. Fellow delegates, if you are completely Eurocentrist and see your neighbor countries and strategic partners as satellite states, this resolution shows some promise. But if you believe in fairness a little bit, this one is not the one you are looking for definitely. Thanks.
Thank you. Again, it's not against anyone. This is the reason why we cut you off, is just so that everyone gets the same time to speak. So please, AFCO, en français, 2 minutes.
Cher Président, cher Vice-président, chers délégués et la Commission de CD. D'abord, je voudrais vous exprimer mes félicitations pour vos efforts pendant 3 jours de committee work. Mais malheureusement, je dois dire que je suis extrêmement déçu des résultats de votre travail de cette résolution. Il y a 2 aspects dans
Can you please speak a bit closer to the microphone, I think? Yes.
Alors, dans la résolution qui me dérange à cause de votre superficialité. Le premier aspect dont je veux parler est la faisabilité de la résolution, et particulièrement dans le paragraphe coopération avec la Turquie. Comme vous avez condamné dans la 5e clause opérative, la Turquie est devenue plus en plus reconnue avec les violations des droits de l'homme depuis plusieurs années. Gardant-le dans la tête, et aussi les déclarations instables du gouvernement de la Turquie.
Sorry to stop you again. If you maybe a tiny bit clearer also, maybe slower, so that it's.
C'est mieux maintenant?
Yeah, but also slower. If you can speak a bit slower, that would be great. Thank you very much.
Le premier aspect dont je veux parler est la faisabilité de la résolution, et particulièrement de le paragraphe coopération avec la Turquie. Je l'ai déjà dit. Bon. Dans la 5e clause opérative. La Turquie est devenue plus en plus reconnue avec les violations des droits de l'homme depuis plusieurs années. Gardant-le dans la tête, et aussi des déclarations instables du gouvernement de la Turquie, pensez-vous que la Turquie peut arrêter de bafouer les droits de l'homme ou le principe de non-refoulement? Le deuxième aspect qui manque dans votre résolution est l'incohérence entre votre sujet et votre clause opérative. Dans votre sujet, il parle de la collaboration des partis en vue d'améliorer la sécurité publique en Turquie et de sauvegarder la démocratie. Mais on voit que vous n'avez que la 11e clause opérative qui n'est pas faisable aussi. Parce qu'il y a une très grande quantité de réfugiés qui ne sont pas enregistrés du tout. Il faut se rappeler que Turquie n'est pas fiable, et sa position politique est si instable que cela peut changer plusieurs fois dans un seul mois. Alors,
can you please conclude?
Oui, je
no?
vais à la fin. Alors, ce que je vous suggère d'être plus clair et plus strict et prendre des mesures plus réalistes pour résoudre les problèmes mentionnés dans la clause introductive. En vue de ces 2 aspects, je vous invite de voter contre cette résolution. Merci beaucoup.
Thank you very much, AFCO. Yes, Sede, now you have 2 minutes to reply to these 2 attack speeches.
Okay, erstmal danke sehr für diese beiden sehr interessanten Attack Speeches. Leider sind vor allem bei der zweiten Rede einige Punkte nicht ganz angekommen aufgrund von Übersetzungsfehlern, aber ich werde trotzdem versuchen, darauf einzugehen. Der wichtigste Punkt war, glaube ich, dass die Türkei angeblich missbraucht wird durch unseren Deal. Da müssen wir ganz klar sagen, dass das nicht der Fall ist. Um genau zu sein, versuchen wir sogar, der Türkei mit unserem Abkommen in vielen Punkten stark entgegenzukommen. Eben zum Beispiel in Punkt 6, wo wir weitere finanzielle Unterstützung zusagen sollten, wenn die Türkei deutliche Fortschritte zeigt. Außerdem haben wir auch festgelegt, dass das Abkommen für alle Asylwerber, nicht nur für Assyrer gelten soll, und Asylwerber, die nicht aus sicheren Herkunftsländern kommen, nicht in die Türkei zurückgeschickt werden können. Weiters, bezüglich der Menschenrechte. Natürlich wird sich die Situation in der Türkei nicht von einem Tag auf den anderen ändern. Das ist völlig illusorisch und unmöglich. Aber wir werden schauen, dass wir auf lange Sicht weiter versuchen, die Situation zu verbessern. Und wenn die Türkei auf lange Sicht es nicht in der Lage ist, die Menschenrechte zu wahren, dann müssen wir natürlich Maßnahmen ergreifen. Denn die Menschenrechte gehören zu unseren höchsten europäischen Werten. Und diese Werte dürfen wir auf keinen Fall verletzen. Und aus diesem Grund sagen wir, natürlich müssen wir die einzelnen Länder entlasten. Und wir müssen für ein faires und gerechtes Abkommen sorgen. Aber was wir vor allem auch müssen, ist unsere hohen europäischen Standards und Werte zu wahren. Und genau das tut unser Abkommen. Danke.
Thank you very much, Sede, for a passionate response to the attack speech. I think it is now time we first ask for, is there any point of information? Is that one a point of information? Oh, it is. Oh, my God. So we have one from Cult 1, and back there it's Afet. Yeah. So Cult 1, please, point of information.
Could the proposing committee please explain what the principle of non-refoulement means?
And Afet? Okay. Well then, Sid, if you could please explain in a couple of seconds, yeah.
The principle of, thank you for this question, we're very sorry it's not in our resolution. The principle of non-refoulement is a principle of international law. It forbids rendering of the true victims to his or her persecutor, which means you cannot send a refugee back to a country which is not safe for them. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sere, for this point. Just maybe for the afternoon, given that there might be certain terms that we forgot to either put a footnote or fact sheet, it is definitely allowed to approach members of the proposing committee and ask them the things before, so that we save more time for proper debates rather than points of information, which are not useless, but just could also be made in informal moments so that we can then discuss. But thank you very much for asking for that Cut 1 and Afet. Let's move on to the open debate, the last open debate before lunch. Okay, so we will start with a point from Cal 2 in German.
Hallo. In Einleitungssatz F erwähnt er das Misstrauen zwischen den beiden Staaten. Er erwähnt allerdings keine konkrete Lösung, wie man sich annähern kann. Ich denke, Vertrauen wird bei diesem Thema groß geschrieben. Habt ihr vielleicht ein paar bisher nicht erwähnte Vorschläge? And sorry for the bad pronunciation. So good.
Thank you very much, Call 2, and also thank you very much, translators. Ample 1 now in English.
Okay, my question is about actually OC number 11. Since endorsing financial and material support...
Wait. What's the point? Oh, this is direct response, sorry. Direct response on the point made by Cal 2 regarding trust. Okay, so Afet, you recognized. Very sorry, Ample 1.
I want to add to the point made about mistrust, because I think that the committee of SEDE is actually making the situation worse. So if we look at the clause 1A, it says that should the action plan be proclaimed legal, the EU should immediately suspend the action plan. So how can you immediately suspend the action plan you made with Turkey without even talking with Turkey or without regarding Turkey? You cannot just suspend a treaty immediately by your own. You can't do that one-sided. It creates more mistrust, and that's one of the main problems in this cooperation between Turkey and EU.
Thank you very much, Afet. Oh, sorry, Ample 1. Yeah, it was your turn. Yes.
First of all, I would like to say thank you to my.
Oh, there's a direct response by
sorry.
Sede. Sorry, Ample 1 again. Sede, please defend your clause.
Well, obviously, if the deal is proclaimed illegal by a third party, it is not really us that is stopping the deal. I mean, if it is illegal, the European Union cannot continue with this practice. It's not our decision, it's a consequence of a third party proclaiming that the deal is illegal. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sede, for clarifying your point. There's a direct response now from INTA, still on this point. Would you, though, either propose a new solution instead of just saying, oh no, we think that that would not enhance the trust, or we don't think, or we think that that would enhance the trust? Could you propose something, suggest something?
Yeah. I also think that it's not your fault, but you are able to change this mistrust issue. For example, about visa liberalization, but you choose to suspend the visa liberalization, which is the only demand of Turkey. That only makes the things worse.
Okay, slightly deviated, but okay. Ample 1, now it is your turn. No one's gonna get it from you. It's like an opening speech of an opening ceremony.
Okay. So I'm going to ask about the OC11 endorsing more financial and material support to Turkey. And actually, this is under the roof of action plan. This is actually happening at the moment, getting the financial aid. But maybe we can more focus on what goes wrong in the Turkey and why there is no process at the moment than giving more money to something that is not working in the first place. Because you suggested that this isn't working, so why not look more into it?
Okay, so Ample 1, not really convinced by the financial aid, said they would like to give to Turkey. We can now let's go to Libe 1 first, and then Sede, you could already start maybe preparing to reply to the points. Yes, Libe 1 in English.
Thank you. Sorry in advance for such a destructive question, but actually the topic was finding balance between public safety in Turkey and the possibility of breach of human rights. Could you please elaborate which of the points of your resolution directly address the problem of finding that balance and trying to tackle all the hardships on the way to finding it? Thank you.
Thank you, Libe 1. Again, if I can suggest you to suggest things. Definitely, if you suggest something, it means that you think that the committee hasn't, for example, tackled a certain issue or has tackled that issue not in the appropriate way. But please suggest as much as you can instead of just rightly again criticizing the actions of the committee. That would be very nice. Sede, now up to you to reply to the points.
Ja, vielen Dank für die vielen guten Punkte. Der erste Punkt von Kalt, wie wir das Vertrauen wiederherstellen wollen. Wir sind in einer sehr schwierigen Situation zurzeit. Allerdings haben wir vor, mit der Güterunion, die wir einführen wollen, weiterhin Partnerschaft mit der Türkei zu betreiben. Der von Afet genannte Punkt, der sich auf OC 1a bezog, hat damit zu tun, dass wir sind angeklagt zurzeit und wenn es heißt, dass wir ein illegales Abkommen abgemacht haben, dann können wir als Werteunion nicht an dem Abkommen festhalten, sondern müssen es aufgeben und neu verhandeln. Zu dem anderen Punkt, dass wir die Türkei verändern sollten, das ist nicht unsere Aufgabe und auch nicht in unserer Macht. Wir können Ihnen sagen, was das Problem am Abkommen ist und welche Punkte Sie verändern müssen. Und der Rest liegt bei der Türkei. Ihr habt kritisiert, dass wir weiter Financial Support geben wollen, obwohl die Lage in der Türkei so schwer ist. Das wollen wir, weil wir immer noch an die Flüchtlinge denken. Und wir sehen, dass die Flüchtlinge in einer sehr schweren Situation sind und zurzeit unter menschenunwürdigen Bedingungen leben. Allerdings ist dieser finanzielle Support auch daran gebunden, dass die Türkei sich weiter verbessert und die 5 fehlenden Punkte zur Visa Liberalization implementiert. Genau, es ist auch nicht wahr, dass wir die Visa Liberalization aufgeben wollen. Wir warten lediglich darauf, dass die Türkei die fehlenden 5 Punkte akzeptiert. Vielen Dank.
Thank you very much, Sede, for replying to all of the points. Let's see if the other committees are still convinced. Now, let's so the next 2 points will come from Libe 2 in German and Cult 1 in English.
Okay, also ich will erstmal sagen, dass ich mit der Resolution grundsätzlich übereinstimme von Komitee SEDE, möchte aber noch gerne was hinzufügen. Und zwar hätte es, glaube ich, Sinn gemacht, die Kooperation mit anderen Nachbarstaaten von Syrien und dem Irak auszubauen. Zum Beispiel solchen Ländern wie Jordanien oder dem Libanon, die deutlich sicherer und auch, ja, also politisch auch etwas stabiler sind, um eben aus diesen Ländern Flüchtlinge aufzunehmen und so diese davon abzuhalten, über die Türkei in die EU zu kommen. Also das ist nur eine Hinzufügung. Grundsätzlich stimme ich der Resolution zu.
Thank you very much, Libe 2, for suggesting to maybe expand the cooperation or the actions to other countries also involved in the refugee crisis. Is that a point of order?
Yes, I'm so sorry. We didn't know how to address it otherwise because there was some issue with the translation in between the German versions and the English versions that rendered the delegates to react in a certain way towards a clause in the resolution. I will pass on to clarify. Sorry.
Yeah, so actually this is a German committee, so the German resolution was the actual one, and in the German resolution there's no word which describes the English translation immediately. So actually some people, well, I'm talking about 1A actually, because some people have reacted to it. They said that we can't suspend the cooperation immediately, but this is actually not in the original German resolution. So yeah, it's just a translation mistake.
Okay,
I wouldn't like the committee to be influenced by this. That's the only reason. Thank you.
No, thank you, Afet. But then Sede, can you please clarify? Because personally, I didn't really get then what.
No, I mean the translation is correct. If the EU-Turkey deal is found to be illegal, EU would then suspend the agreement. So aufheben, einstellen oder suspend, like that would have happened.
Okay, so reading also the 1A in English too now, it does keep the meaning that you want it to have. Yes? Okay, so Afet, thank you, but no, joking. Thank you very much, Sil, for bringing it up and for showing interest in the interest of in the well-being of the committee. So we now have Cult 1 who was waiting. Yes, Cult 1 in the queue.
Yes. Dear Committee SEDE, I can see that you have worked really hard on this resolution, but I would like to remind you that your topic is also about improving the public safety in Turkey. I also want you to remind that most of these Syrian refugees lost their families and their friends. That causes them some serious psychological problems. How are you going to improve the public safety without any psychological support? Like, it would be more effective if you had some support about psychological problems. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Cult 1. Let's have the last point before going back again to say that to the Proposing Committee, and that would come from Econ in English.
Okay, so regarding operative clause number 5 with the human rights
We have a better solution for you. We would encourage this establishment without any delay of an independent advisory committee composed of independent experts and representatives of UNHCR and relevant NGOs in order to comprehensively to review refugee protection in Turkey and make recommendations on how the government could better discharge its international obligation towards refugees. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Econ. Then Sede, please, if you could please provide answers to the points made so far. Thank you. Recognized in English. Thank you, Sede.
With regard to the point made about cooperating with other countries such as Lebanon, we see that cooperation with many other countries could help to the refugee crisis, but our topic is cooperation with Turkey. The EU cooperates with many countries in the world, and we cannot cover all of them in one resolution. And about improving public safety in Turkey, we actually have addressed this issue by with our operative clause, in which we urge Turkey to take the advice of the World Bank, in which the World Bank basically makes some suggestions on how to improve the public safety in Turkey. We cannot, as the European Union, go to Turkey and tell them what they have to do and how they have to address their issues with public safety, but we can, however, make suggestions, and that is why we have backed our suggestions with the suggestions that the World Bank have said or have made, because in this way we believe that the claim will be stronger, but still it is ultimately up to Turkey whether they want to or not take these suggestions and actually take efforts in improving their own public safety. Thank you.
Oh, that response, ample too. Well, okay, let's hear it from you.
We've done a lot of debating these few days about how NGOs could help in solutions for example, human rights and for refugee accommodation. So we think that supporting NGOs in Turkey could actually help the human rights issues. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ample 2, there's a direct response up there from AFCO on human rights issues, I guess. Yes, AFCO, en français, you're recognized.
Oui, alors pour la coopération avec des ONG locales, ce qui pourrait, donc je soutiens cette idée, et en plus avec la corruption et l'instabilité de la Turquie, ce serait même plus pratique et plus sécure de directement agir sur place que de simplement donner de l'argent dans un pays qui n'est pas stable. Et avec la corruption qu'il y a, en tout cas je préférerais et je trouverais plus intelligent une action qui se fait sur place avec des ONG locales et qui sont compétentes. Merci.
Okay, there seems to be conflicting opinions on the approach that it has to be taken in terms of human rights actions. Okay, so let's hear something from Deve. Maybe on that point they have something to tell given yesterday's debate. And then Reggie in English.
Thank you. This time it works. In Operative Clause 11, you plan on addressing every single registered refugee and then fund and support based on those numbers. However, there are over 10 million stateless people today, a large amount of which are coming from Syria today as well. So I would suggest that you have to find another system in order to register them, because stateless people are currently not being registered. And in that case, if you're not registering them all, then your support will not be proportional to the people that are in need. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Deve. Challenging the solution in Clause 11. We have a direct response. Maybe you know the system that could be adopted, Ample 1. Do you know it?
I just wanted to add on what the delegate said, that like 90% of the almost 3 million refugees in Turkey that are outside like the camps are not registered, and like their rights are violated. So I don't know, like I think that the Committee of Security and Defense have not addressed how they can safeguard human rights of people coming into the country as well. So to add on what the delegate said.
Okay, thank you very much, Ample 1. Still the adding, okay, I see a direct response. Maybe you guys know what could be the solution? No? No solution. Okay, so Reggie, you were waiting for your point in English.
Okay, so continuing on that point, on the fact sheet you mentioned that 1,500 migrants have crossed the Aegean Sea every day, but what I can't see is the number of deaths while people were trying to cross the sea, and the same applies to the operative clauses when you don't mention how you will stop people from dying when trying to cross the Aegean Sea, which is really like 20 minutes. And personally, I believe that the same applies to the European Union that has done little or nothing towards that to help and achieve safe passage for these people. So how do you plan to address that?
Okay, thank you very much, Reggie. We have ITRE 2 in German, and then we will finish this third round with Sede and move on to last round. So ITRE 2 in German, you have the last point of this round.
Ja, mir geht es um die Entschließungsanträge 8 und 9 und deren Widerspruch. Einerseits wollt ihr die Verhandlungen über das Visa verschieben, wenn weiterhin Menschenrechte verletzt werden. Dann wollt ihr aber in Entschließungsantrag 8 diese doch fortsetzen. Meiner Meinung nach würde es reichen, wenn man nur 8 stehen lassen würde und Nummer 9 streicht, da mit einem offenen Ende sowieso, wenn Menschenrechte verletzt werden, die EU nicht auf diese Visa-Einigungen eingehen würde.
And the shadow came on the room. There's a direct response by, I cannot see anything, is that Liebe 2? Yeah, Liebe 2 in German, regarding especially clause 8, I guess, and the point made by ITRE 2.
Ja, also ich denke, was Sie dachten, wenn Sie das geschrieben haben, ist sozusagen eine Belohnung für die türkische Staatsangehörige zu geben, dass sie diese Migrantenkrise, diese Flüchtlingskrise einfach übergehen können. Und ich glaube, dass das gilt nicht für die Flüchtlinge normalerweise, weil die Flüchtlinge sind nicht Staatsangehörige und dass die Visaverhandlung interessiert denen ja nicht. Aber ich glaube, das ist mehr für die türkische Staatsangehörige. Ja. Danke.
Okay, we'll take the last direct response by ITRE 2, and then we need to go back to Sede, but ITRE 2, please, in German, you can reply to this.
Es ist sehr richtig, dass es hier um die Staatsbürger geht. Allerdings muss man sich schon bewusst machen, dass das Ganze ein sehr deutlicher Widerspruch einfach in sich birgt, wenn man einerseits mit den Staatsbürgern die Möglichkeit geben möchte, zu kommen, aber dann doch sagt, eigentlich wollen wir nicht verhandeln, wenn weiterhin verletzt wird.
Okay, so Sede, maybe you can clarify what were your thoughts when you wrote that?
All right, there were so many points that I'll try to have time to address all of them. First, about the NGOs, we totally support the NGOs, but NGOs are independent, so we, as a European Union, we can't really do much about it. So what we can do is to cooperate with Turkey, and we have to focus on that cooperation. Then about the registering the refugees, our goal is to have every refugee that comes to Turkey registered. And that's why we have OC number 11. And that's why we also give them more financial support, though they have the tools and they have the capacity to actually build more camps, take in more refugees, and get them all registered. Okay, then we had many points about the visa liberalization dialogue. In a sense, I don't understand why you think it's contradictory that we want them to have the visas, we want them to come to Europe, but then again, we have to also take into account the criteria that has already been set in the deal. We can change the existing deal, and so far as Turkey fulfills those 5 criteria that are still missing, we gladly grant them the visa. But I don't see it as a contradictory point that if we already have an agreement that is in place, if we continue on that road, how can it be contradictory? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sede. Very concise. The last round of debate of this resolution, we'll have a really brief last round. The first point will come from ITRE 1, followed by AFET en français. So ITRE 1 in English, AFET en français.
Thank you for the recognition. The delegate from SEDE committee said that to improve the public safety in Turkey, they encouraged the Turkish government to consider the proposals made by World Bank. But I didn't really understand to what extent a financial support would be helpful to increase the prosperity of a country. Do you think the reason of the threats is the lack of financial support? Thank you.
Thank you very much. ITRE 1, AFET en français, s'il vous plaît.
Merci de m'avoir reconnu. Je voulais juste rappeler un point, que c'est le comité de la défense publique. Et donc la question c'était comment l'UE et la Turquie peuvent-elles collaborer en vue d'améliorer la sécurité publique en Turquie. Et je crois qu'il n'y a pas de points importants sur l'amélioration de la sécurité en Turquie. Par exemple, on pourrait proposer des solutions comme des échanges d'informations entre les différents services de police, par exemple.
Thank you, Afet, for suggesting something. Let's move on to the last point. So Sede, get ready to hold the summation speech of your general debate. This will come from Ample 2 in English.
We are already giving money, a lot of money to Turkey to take in more refugees. Why? Why in the hell would we give a country that's...
I'm sorry. Could you please mind your words, though?
Sorry,
yes.
That's my fault.
Thank you.
Why would we give a country that's so corrupt more money?
Okay, direct response. Though, really, guys, I'd highly suggest all of you to mind your words. We do not have to be disrespectful. As long as the emotions flow, which is fine, let's keep it on a nice level. There was a direct response first from the committee that I don't see the placard of. Reggie, you have a direct response, please.
The reason we're giving money to Turkey is because the EU doesn't want the refugees to enter the EU. If we wanted to, countries like Hungary wouldn't have to pass a referendum to do it.
Okay, we'll just take another direct response, and then we'll go to say the summation speech, because we really need to. So, Liebe 1, yes?
So, actually, why I think Turkey doesn't want refugees to enter its country is just because its inner political situation, because they have many national minorities, and if the refugee crisis would increase, so that the balance between the nations will some kind of change, and they don't want to have some kind of problems like this. That's because I think that financial aid doesn't have any deal with the refugee problem in the Turkey. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Liebe 1. So we can move on to Sede, which first in English and then in German will sum up this debate.
most esteemed President, fellow delegates, dear members of the board, dear guests, I am really glad that so many points have been said. It pleases us that you're ready to discuss this problem. So to address these points, first of all, the propositions of the World Bank, they're not only concerning the financial support. The World Bank has presented a report with actual reforms the Turkish government is to undertake in order to improve its public safety and situation in general. Afterwards, there was a point by Afet on public safety. We would like to point out that information exchange between Turkey and the EU is already happening. And apart from this, we have included many points on public safety. For example, the one about the condemnation of violation of human rights and all the others. So it is not true that we do not address this topic in our resolution. And lastly, why would we give more money to Turkey? Well, because we don't want people to die, first of all. And even though we do realize we have been already given about 6 billion euros to Turkey, we do propose additional funds to be allocated on specific projects. For example, accommodation. Accommodation remains to be a huge problem for the refugees. There is not enough accommodation for them in the camps. Therefore, we do find it absolutely crucial to allocate just these specific funds on that project in order to improve the situation. Having said that, I yield the floor to my fellow delegate.
Sehr geehrtes Präsidium, sehr geehrte Gäste, liebe Mitdelegierte, selten wurde ein Thema in Europa derartig kontroversiell diskutiert. Selten gab es ein Thema, das die Gesellschaft so sehr gespalten hat. Selten hat man sich so sehr gewünscht, ein Problem einfach aus der Welt schaffen zu können. Leider ist das aber nicht möglich. Um einen Umgang mit diesen Flüchtlingen nach unseren hohen europäischen Standards zu gewährleisten, ist eine Kooperation mit der Türkei unumgänglich. Durch den EU-Türkei-Aktionsplan wird das Grundproblem in ein anderes Land verschoben. Ein Land mit sehr fragwürdigen humanitären Bedingungen. Unsere Resolution jedoch wird diese Bedingungen entscheidend verbessern. Menschenrechte sind die höchste Gut Europas. Ein Gut, welches wir auch in der Türkei schützen müssen. Deshalb werden wir das Abkommen aufkündigen, sollten diese auf lange Sicht weiterhin verletzt werden. Sollte sich die Türkei jedoch kooperationsbereit zeigen, werden auch wir weitere Mittel zur Verfügung stellen, um unsere menschenwürdige Behandlung zu gewährleisten. Durch das ergebnisoffene Fortführen der EU-Beitrittsverhandlungen wird die Türkei die Chance geboten, auch die innere Stabilität zu stärken. Außerdem werden die ineffizienten lokalen Systeme innerhalb der EU umgangen und direkt Materialien zur Verfügung gestellt, um die Asylanträge zu beschleunigen. Im Sinne der Diversität nur noch ein paar Wörter auf Französisch. Il ne s'agit pas seulement de problèmes entre deux pays, il s'agit de mères, d'enfants, de familles. Il s'agit d'humains qui fuient le conflit, qui ont besoin d'aide. Nos résolutions peuvent y contribuer. Merci. Danke. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sede. Thank you very much. Now, if you could please choose what you want to vote, and then we'll ask you why you want to vote. Yeah, so we're doing GA stats for voting.
Ist morgen schon im Knast. Redaktion wird dicht gemacht, denkt nicht lange nach und fährt mit Tränengas und Wasserwerfern durch die Nacht. Sei schön charmant, denn hat dich in der Hand.
Okay, let's resume. if all the chairs and relevant delegates could take their smartphones or other devices and start typing down. Shall they submit? Shall they submit the votes already, or should we wait? Yeah. Okay, so let's wait. So when you're ready, just raise your committee placard, and we will then ask you to submit. Come on, come on, come on, come on. AFCO missing. Deve still counting. Reggie missing. Reggie, come on. It's not because you don't have your chair with you that you can take as much time as you want. So, Deve, yes. AFCO, yes. Reggie, yes. Cool. Okay, so you're ready? Who's missing? Deve is missing? No pressure, Valerie. We're all waiting for you. Cool. 3, 2, 1, submit. No submit? Have you guys submitted? It's not really showing though. Okay, they're not going through. They're not going through. Cool. So we're going to do show of hands. So if you could please, whoever is in favor, raise your hand. All those against, please raise your hands. Oops. Okay, so it is now working. So if so, called once, submitted twice.
But it seems like some committees have voted 2 times.
Yes, yes. Wait a second. So can we show it, guys? Yeah, but the result, I mean, it's pretty clear, and unfortunately, yeah, and unfortunately, well, just for the sake of the procedure, is there anyone abstaining? Yes, though from here it was pretty clear that unfortunately I have to say that the motion for resolution from SEDE has not passed. But congratulations. That was the longest voting procedure in the history of the EWP. Okay, now guys, there are a couple of announcements, obviously, and then you will be free to go to lunch. Okay, so please attention here. No music, no talking, no chit chatting. So first announcement is okay. Lunch is obviously where we had breakfast today and lunch yesterday. The same rules applies for today. Everyone, if you could please pack your stuff and bring them with you at lunch. Then the people here on the floor, if you could leave the headsets here, but please leave them because also yesterday someone brought them with you. If the people upstairs could please bring them downstairs at the bottom of the, could you please though sit down? Could you please though sit down? Could you please though sit down? That'd be very kind of you. Thank you. And the people on the 2, yes, if you could please give them to the organizers there. Then there's some announcements. First of all, media team would like to take pictures of you. So when you go through the courtyard, please, if you want to have a profile picture by anyone from the media team, approach any journalist, and they will be glad to provide you with a Facebook profile picture or any other social media that you want to use. Again, could you please listen to me? It really takes 20 seconds, and if you would please sit down, that'd be great. Thank you, thank you. Sorry for being that annoying. Second announcement is the fact that the TI, so the translator interpreters, are holding a workshop, a translation, actually an interpretation workshop during lunch break. The first half an hour of lunch, 10 lucky people could have the chance to translate, to simultaneously translate speeches. So if there's anyone who would like to do that, please approach Thomas, who is there. Yes. And it will be sorted out. It will be English French translation, English German translation. Someone from the TI team will hold speeches from here, and you will have the chance to see how hard their job is, and understand even more. So that was the second announcement. The third announcement will, yes, and it's about organization.
Hey, so please pay attention. The people I'm gonna call, please just go to the entrance at the checkout stand. So I'm sorry if I destroy your name. Olzi Arapi, Edan Bolitini, Andrei Faltinsky, Yana Yark, Elina Jekale, Alexandros Kaimakliotis, Jonas Brown, Anastasia Kurbatkina, Desmond Akumbor, Oleg Rogosa, Jakov Sola, and Rosanna Gabriela Unjurenas. Okay? Thank you.
And yeah, and last but not least, so these are all the people who have to check out right now, so please approach the organizers right outside. Then at 2:15, so 2:15, we will be playing a video by the media team, and another one, and right after that we will start debating. This means that whoever is here will see the video and start debating, whoever is not here will not, and I strongly invite you to all be here. So see you after lunch.